Hello, you're watching English for You. I'm Seb.
And I'm Laura.
And today we're talking about heroes.
Ta-da! Heroes.
What are heroes?
Superheroes.
Superheroes. Well, that's one kind of hero,
That's right.
A hero is someone who does very brave things or very good things, you know. Often things that could be dangerous, you know, things that are very risky.
Exactly. And then they will save you or save the world.
Yes, like Superman.
Exactly, or Spider-Man. Everybody likes Spider-Man these days.
And the Avengers are another good example. So yeah, all of these people, all these characters have one thing in common. They save the world, or they save people from evil villains, from masterminds and things like that. So what is your favorite superhero movie?
I used to like Batman.
Okay.
Because usually I think he's great looking and also he has another identity. I like secret identities. But actually a lot of superheroes are like that, not just Batman. I just like the story.
Rich guys.
I know, that's right.
He has lots of money. Anyway, today we're actually talking about a different kind of hero. They're not superheroes. They don't fly.
No.
I hope they don't fly anyway. And they're not even actually people. We're actually talking about dog heroes.
Oh my god, that is super cute.
Right? So this makes me think of like some movies from before, like Old Yeller, I think was like one movie about a very like cute dog who was kind of like a hero. That one ends kind of sad. Anyway, let's move on and talk about today's article.
Reading. History remembers dogs at war. In times of war, brave men and women put their lives on the line fighting for the interests of their country. It's not just people who do this, however. Let's learn about two canine soldiers, one from each of the world wars. Sergeant Stubby, World War I. In 1917, Corporal Robert Conroy saw a dog wandering around Yale University where the military was training. That's how Stubby was found. Stubby knew when the enemy was coming because he had great hearing. He could also detect the smell of dangerous gases, so he could warn the soldiers when a gas attack was coming. Stubby's main job, however, was as a mercy dog. He would run out between the US and German trenches and comfort wounded soldiers until help arrived. Stubby received a hero's welcome when he returned to the U.S. He had gained so much popularity that when he died, the New York Times wrote a long article about his life. Stubby's taxidermied body and military coat are now on display at the National Museum of American History.
Okay, so our article begins, in times of war, brave men and women put their lives on the line, fighting for the interests of their country.
Wow, super brave. Okay, 所以在战争的时候，勇敢的男人和女人冒着他们生命的危险，为了他们的国家的利益而战斗。Put something on the line.
Like washing.
No, 不是那个晒衣服的 line， 不是那种，在这里指的是冒什么的风险啦，所以他们冒着他们生命的危险这样的意思。而刚刚我们说是为他们国家的利益，对不对？而战斗。这里的名词 interest 就是指利益或者是好处这样的意思哦。And next in the article it reads, it's not just people who do this, however. 然而不只有人类才这样哦。
Right, that's a very good point. Not just people make sacrifices, but animals do too. The article says, let's learn about two canine soldiers, one from each of the world wars. Okay, so the word canine there is an adjective that means relating to dogs. So, like anything that is to do with a dog, we could put canine on. So, if we talk about canine teeth, for example, we're talking about dog teeth. If we talk about canine behavior, we're talking about dog behavior. Canine characteristics, dog characteristics. So, it's just like a fancy describing word that means dog-ish, basically. And another word that we might learn while we're on this subject is feline. So if canine is for dogs, then what do you think feline is for?
Cats.
Cats, exactly. So feline teeth, cat teeth.
好可爱哦
Feline heroes, cat heroes.
Okay, I'm thinking about Catwoman. Okay, 好，我们来学习。
feline woman.
对，我们来学习关于两个狗狗军人的英雄哦。诶，这样子可以叫它狗英雄吗 ？OK， 好，那一个是来自于第一次世界大战，那另外一个是来自于第二次的世界大战。Canine 这个形容词就是犬的、狗的。那刚刚我们又来補充一個 feline， 就是貓科動物。好啦，接着我們就來看一下它叫什麼名字吧。
Oh, such a cute name.
Oh my god, super cute. So the article says Sergeant Stubby. Okay.
So cute.
And he's from, 他是在 World War I, 就是第一次世界大战的哦。Stubby, OK. 那我們剛剛有叫他 Sergeant Stubby。Sergeant 這個字就是中士的意思。可是我們先來看一下 Stubby 這個名字，其實它是起源於 stub, S-T-U-B 這個名詞，表示殘餘的部分或是殘根、殘株。那因為它的尾巴是短小，就這樣子來命名它哦。Super cute name.
Yeah, I guess he has probably really short legs or a little tail or something. So it's just really cute.
Stubby.
It's a very cute name. So what is the story behind Sergeant Stubby? Well, the article says in 1917, Corporal Robert Conroy saw a dog wandering around Yale University, which is a famous university in the United States, where the military was training. Okay, so a couple of words here. First, corporal. Corporal is a noun which is a rank in the army, and it's a lower rank, so it's below sergeant. So really, corporal would be underneath Sergeant Stubby.
对啊，我觉得比他小哎。
Exactly. So we'd normally put this before someone's name. So Corporal Robert Conroy from the article, or we could say Corporal Patrick Davis, for example. Just put any name afterwards. Next, we have this word wander. So let's take a closer look at that. Okay, so our next word is wander. That's a verb. And remember, it's pronounced wander, like with an O, not wander, even though it's written with an A. English is fun sometimes. So wander, that means to walk around a place, often in a relaxed way and without any specific purpose. So imagine wandering down by the beach. If you're taking a walk on the beach, you're probably not going to work, right? You're not going somewhere important. You're not rushing down the beach. You're taking your time and just going for a nice stroll. And so for that reason, we would say you're wandering. Or we could say that you wandered around an old town as well. Something without any specific direction. You're just looking, seeing what's there, what's interesting. An example sentence for wander could be, I wasn't busy last night, so I wandered down to the riverside to see if anything interesting was happening there.
OK， 在1917年的时候，我们有一个 Corporal 是什么呢？是一个下士 Corporal Robert Conroy。哇，他看到一只狗在耶鲁大学附近游荡呢。那这个呢，也是这个军队在训练的地方哦。那这里我们先来看一下刚刚有提到的 wander， 它就是闲逛啦，或者是游荡这样的意思。Actually, I went to Tainan last month. I wandered around the old streets in Tainan.But I got lost.
Oh no. Well, that's better. There's worse places to get lost, right?
Yeah. And Yale University 其实就是耶鲁大学，很有名哦。那学校是坐落在这个美国的康奈迪克州。
Exactly. So he's at Yale University where the military was training. Now, the military are the armed forces, and that includes the army, that's 军队, or we could say also the navy, the 海军, and the air force, 空军. So all of those together is the military.
Yes.
Or we could use military to just kind of refer to one of them without being specific as well. So you can use it in all of those ways. Anyway, here's an example sentence. James joined the military after high school. So military can also be used as an adjective as well.
Yes.
And that just means like canine is for dogs,
yeah.
Military could just be relating to the army or relating to the navy or something. So James received military training. Andrea went to a military school.
Okay, so the military, 注意哦，它如果前面有个 the OK， 一起的 the military 这个名词就是指军队或是军方。举例来说 the military may step in if the crisis continues. They're very powerful. Okay, and next in the article we read that's how Stubby was found. 那就是 Stubby 如何被发现的。不过这里我们先来看一下一些文法重点 That's how 要怎么用哦。刚刚大家有没有注意到句型？就是 that is or that was 后面接 wh 或是 how 的疑问词，然后再接上一个名词子句的用法哦。OK， 是用来强调前述的内容正是做某件事情的地点、时间或是原因或是方法。我觉得要举个例子会比较清楚。你们知道吗？我通常呢会请我的学生做这件事情来学英文哦。I usually ask my students to listen to my recordings and copy my intonation and pronunciation. 就是要听我的录音，然后学习我的语调啊，还有发音。That's how they can improve better. 这就是他们可以如此的进步他们的英文哦。我们再举一个例子哦。我们接另外一个疑问词好了。If you start to feel sleepy while driving, that is when you need to rest. 如果你在开车的时候会开始想要睡觉哦，这就是你该好好休息的时候咯。
So, Stubby had a special power. I guess Stubby was kind of like a superhero.
Super dog.
He had a special power. Well, he had a few special powers, actually.
Right?
The article said Stubby knew when the enemy was coming because he had great hearing. Okay, so hearing there is the ability to hear.
Sure.
It's a noun. We're not doing a verb like I am hearing something.
No.
So, for example, my grandma has poor hearing, so you'll have to speak loudly to her.
Oh.
And just while we're on this subject, we don't say we have good seeing.
No.
We say we have good sight.
好的视力。
Because English is fun.
Right. 然后好的听力就是 good hearing. 好的视力是 good sight. 那 Stubby 多厉害呢？只要敌人要来的时候，他马上就会知道，因为他有非常好的听力啊。那这时候课文就接着说 He could also detect the smell of dangerous gases, so he could warn the soldiers when a gas attack was coming. So he has good smelling the power 吧。
And that's
对啊。
very important. We'll get to why that's important in a minute. But first, let's look at this special ability he has. He could detect dangerous gases. Okay, so detect is a verb, and when we detect something, we notice something, especially when it's not obvious. So think of it like the word notice, right? When we notice something or detect something, we sense it, okay? So we might see it, we might hear it, we might smell it, or we might taste it. We could do any of these things. We could feel it too. So, for example, I could say that I detected the smell of freshly baked apple pies wafting through the air. Okay, so in that sense, you can't smell them very clearly, but I noticed that smell. It was out there somewhere. I knew someone was baking apple pies. Another example we could look at is our example sentence, James detected the nervousness in Emma's voice. Okay, so in that one, Emma is a little bit nervous and she's not showing it, she's hiding it, but James could just about hear that she wasn't very comfortable.
So Stubby 很厉害哦，他会察觉到危险气体的味道。那所以当气体攻击来的时候，哇，他就可以马上警告军人。Detect 这个字呢是个动词，就是察觉、发觉还有发现的意思哦。So there are also other kinds of dogs that are trained to detect drugs.
Drug dogs.
对
Yes.
我们在很多机场其实会看到这种。
Yes, when you see dogs at the airport, the police
Yes.
with those dogs, they're looking for drugs or other dangerous things that the dogs
Exactly.
can smell.
Dogs are so smart.
Yes, they are. So what was Stubby detecting? He was detecting dangerous gases, which kind of makes me think of one thing, but we're not talking about that.
I think I know what you're talking
Exactly. Gas is a noun, and it is a substance, a thing that is probably like air, that is neither a solid, 固体, or a liquid, 液体. Or
液体, 液体.
It's a hard word to say.
对。
So gas is normally invisible. You normally can't like hold it in your hand.
Right.
It's all around us right now. But we're not underwater, you know, that would be liquid.
Yeah.
It's just the air, really. So gas could be like oxygen, 氧气, or it could be any of the other things that are, yes, exactly, the nasty stuff which is destroying the world. But that's for another day. In World War I, poisonous gases like chlorine were used to kill soldiers. And so it was very helpful if they had an animal or I think normally they use birds actually, that could help them notice the gases before the people could. It could give them extra time to run away and hide or to put on a mask or something. So Stubby helped them do that. Our example sentence for gas is, the science experiment let off a foul-smelling gas that was like bad eggs.
Gas 就是气体的意思，像是刚刚有提到 oxygen 氧气 hydrogen and nitrogen, they're all gases, 这些都是气体的名称。如果你们有学 chemistry 就知道，化学都会教到这个。And we can also talk about poisonous gas, 就是有毒的气体。Okay, now next we read in the article, Stubby's main job, however, was a mercy dog. 哇，所以 Stubby 他主要工作是个 mercy dog, 也就是仁慈犬，其中的 mercy 有着仁慈或是善行这样的意思 Super cute.
It is very cute. It's kind of sad, actually. Basically, what Stubby's job was, he would run out between the US and German trenches and comfort wounded soldiers until help arrived.
I know, that's the sad part. 所以Stubby 会跑出去在美国和德国的战壕之间，然后安抚受伤的军人，直到救援到来。所以我觉得他非常伟大哦。那 German 在这里注意哦，它是当作形容词来用，就是德国的。而 trench 这个名词有着战壕或是壕沟这样的意思哦。And we saw the word wounded.
Right, that's why Stubby is going to help these soldiers, because they are wounded. So let's find out what this word means. Okay, so this word wounded is an adjective. And remember, when you're looking at this one, you need to remember that the pronunciation of wounded is wounded, like O-O, like moon, and not wounded, even though it's got a U, okay? So when someone is wounded, they have been hurt physically and they've been injured. So normally when we're talking about being wounded, we don't mean, little scratches or bruises. We mean serious injuries. Actually, normally a wound needs to break the skin. So if you have a bruise, if your arm has gone like dark brown, has gone black because someone hit it, then that's not a wound, that's an injury. If you've been cut, then you have a wound. So what Stubby was doing was he was going and helping these soldiers that were probably shot, or maybe a bomb went off or something like that, and they got very hurt, and he was comforting them. So an example sentence for wounded is, the bird has a wounded wing because a little kid threw a rock at it. And we can also use wound as a verb as well. For example, the soldier wounded his enemy, but he didn't kill him.
Wounded 这个形容词就是受伤的，比方像是如果你有看到路上有受伤的狗狗 I would take the wounded dogs to the hospital immediately. Okay, let's go back to the article. Stubby received a hero's welcome when he returned to the US. 当 Stubby 回来美国的时候，哇，他赢得了英雄式的欢迎。这里我们看到名词片语 hero's welcome 就是指英雄式的欢迎，用来形容某个人因为英勇啦，或者是值得赞许的作为而得到群众热烈的欢迎。
Yay! So he was very successful and very popular, and he had gained so much popularity that when he died, the New York Times wrote a long article about his life. Wow, so everybody really loved this dog. Now, he had a lot of popularity, that sentence says. Now, popularity is how much you're liked. So it comes from the adjective popular, right?
Sure.
It sounds a lot like popular, if you're a popular kid, you have a lot of popularity. So, for example, the song is very popular and everyone is listening to it. If we want to change that into the noun form, we could say, because of the song's popularity, everyone is listening to it.
这个 Stubby 很厉害，他得到很多的声望或是人气哦。所以当他过世的时候呢，连《纽约时报》都写了一篇关于他的一生的 长篇文章。这里 The New York Times 纽约时报，它其实总部是在美国纽约，是一份具有全球影响力的报刊哦，所以真的 Stubby 是超厉害，他人气很旺啦。Popularity 这个名词就是从形容词 popular 来的，也就是人气声望。举例来说，这个应该你们很有同感吧？ BTS and Blackpink gained so much popularity from all over the world. 你知道他们是谁吧？
Yeah, of course I know. You said all over the world.
我跟你讲，有些人真的不知道他们是谁，好不好？
Because
很夸张。
they live in a cave. I don't know. They don't know about culture. Anyway, so Stubby was very loved,
right.
and they wrote an article about him. And in fact, you can meet him today, and that's because Stubby's taxidermied body and military coat are now on display at the National Museum of American History. Now, taxidermied is an interesting word. It's an adjective that comes from the noun taxidermy. And what taxidermy is the act of preparing, stuffing, and mounting the skins of animals after they die.
That doesn't sound very nice to me, by the way.
It's not a job that I want to do. It's not, I wouldn't want to date somebody who does that job either. But I have a friend, actually, whose friend does it. She lived with someone who did that as a job. But if you've ever been to a nature museum and you've seen like those animals that look really real, like they look like frozen,
我有点害怕
flying or something
我会
like
怕
that.
那种东西
Those are taxidermied animals.
Yeah, because a lot of horror movies have those in it. Okay, anyways, back to the article, not so scary. Stubby 的波字的身体和军外套现在是在哪里？我们可以看到 National Museum of American History， 就是位于美国华盛顿特区的美国国家历史博物馆展览哦。那刚刚有看到一个有点难的字 taxidermied， 剥制的，大家如果不太确定是什么，其实它基本上就是动物死后要去除外皮加工制成标本的状态哦。那刚刚有看到 on display 就是展览中，如果你们想要看一下 Stubby 的这个英雄的英姿的话，就可以去那边看咯。
All right, that's all we're going to learn about Stubby.
Right.
But tomorrow we're going to learn about another dog that did a great thing in World War II. So we'll rejoin you then, but first we have our For You Chat question.
For You Chat.
So here's our For You Chat question. Do you think dogs should be used in times of war? Why or why not?
Yes, I think they should. In fact, I think that we should get rid of all the human soldiers and we should just have dogs.
Really?
No, I'm being stupid.
Okay.
I think we shouldn't use animals in fighting.
Know.
I think it's probably very stressful for them.
Exactly.
And they don't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
So I think generally
a little bit harsh.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think they should be used. And I just gave you the reason. I don't think that we should stress them out and confuse them and damage their brains.
Exactly. So that's what we think. What do you guys think?
Exactly. What do you guys think?
You guys can chat about this.
You talk about it. There's other animals that are used in war. There's war horses, for example. There's birds are sometimes used for different reasons.
Birds.
Yeah, lots of things that animals are used for in war. So you guys discuss that and we'll rejoin you tomorrow when we'll be talking about another dog that helped during World War II. Until then, bye-bye.
Vocabulary Review.
Wander. Kaohsiung's Dream Mall is the largest shopping mall in Taiwan. People can wander around it for hours. The military. Jack was in the military for many years. He was actually a soldier during World War II. Detect. Ryan can move very quietly, so he's good at walking up behind people without being detected. Gas. The air in this area always smells terrible because of the gases that come out of the factory. Wounded. After the car accident, ambulances arrive to take the wounded people to the hospital. Popularity. Everyone watching the sports event loved Mia after she won. She enjoyed her new popularity.
智慧小补帖
Canine Sergeant Corporal Mercy Trench Taxidermied
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net